Greetings and welcome, guys, gals, and non-binary pals, to episode 396 of the Words About Games podcast, the weekly gaming podcast for words about games. I'm your host, Amy K. Alexander. I'm joined this week by Mr. Daffin Moody.
Doodly doodly do, everybody. It's Friday. You know what that means. It's a fucking long weekend. Yeah, baby.
Asterisks. This may not apply to everybody.
Double asterisks. Amy only works 4 days a week. I'll put my 4 days a week against your long weekend.
I'm off for 6 days, so I'm even better.
And we're also joined by Vitz Patel.
What's good, gamers? How's everybody doing?
Oh, you know, my Mass Effect Andromeda Sarah Ryder has fallen face down on the desk in front of me,
Oh no.
and I'm like, big mood.
Yeah.
A metaphor for the Mass Effect Andromeda game in general.
I think it's just a metaphor for an answer to Vitz's question.
Earth is still earthing. Put it that way.
Sure
It's
is.
doing something, that's for sure. Each week I keep getting told World War III just around the corner. You've said that 20 times this month. Yeah, all right. It's all right.
World War III's been just around the corner for like 5 years.
I think we've just been living it. It's just been happening.
Yeah, basically, yeah. It's just in two small spots, two small parts of the world, which they all have the right to defend themselves, apparently.
Yeah, the most moral army on the planet ever that ever walked the earth.
All war crimes here,
Yeah.
especially not on TikTok.
Nothing to see here. Nothing to see here.
It's funny. I wish I went on a weird YouTube rabbit hole today, which started with
that.
No, not
probably-
not like, oh, I'm talking a weird rabbit hole. I'm not talking a bad weird rabbit. I wasn't on my burner account.
Right.
It was on my main account. It started from where I was messaging you guys earlier today. So I watched the Philosophy Tube video, the last one, and in it she recommended a channel called Not Just Bikes, and I've been watching some of Not Just Bikes content. And I was watching this video this morning about Stroads, which is like streets and roads. It's this thing in America that's fucking awful. Like, just the fucking worst. Like, you know, where it's like, you've seen pictures of it probably in TV shows where it's like 10-lane fucking roads, but that are also
highways,
like
that kind of thing.
streets. So they've got the streets down and how they're terrible. And I was like, you know, and I'm vibing with this content. And that's what I text you guys. I was like, I'm watching this. And then I was like, I'm going to watch another one. Just whatever comes up next on this guy's channel. And it was, he went to the Bahamas or Barbados, one of the two. And one of the B ones. And there's another creator. There's another creator called Foreign Man in a Foreign Land who I've watched some of his videos as well. And he went there with him because that's where he lives. And again, it was about like the transport and infrastructure and roads and stuff on the island that they lived. And then he recommended a video about that Foreign Man in a Foreign Land made about like the history of like why why all the roads and stuff are really bad, which has to do with, you know, slavery and segregation and white supremacy. So I was like, well, I'm gonna watch that because it's like a 2-part, right? So I watched that one, and then at the end of that one, I was recommended another video by Foreign Man in a Foreign Land, which was about colonialism and the monarchy in Great Britain.
Wow.
And I was like, well, I'm going to watch this.
Yeah,
that sounds really interesting. So I watched that, and in that, he had someone in that video whose name I don't remember, and I just watched the video that was recommended of hers, which was about the weird obsession of the British media with the royals. So what started out as these roads are bad ended up with down with the monarchy.
I can see where the lineage is. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like if I paint the picture, it makes sense. If I draw the line, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah. With how fucking crazy the whole media over here the last 2 weeks has been with the royals. It's been fucking insane. And I'm just like, I'm not a royalist. Never have, never will be. But fucking hell, I kind of was like, leave her alone. For God's sakes.
Well, everybody
He's had surgery, and it's none of our fucking business.
Yeah, like when everybody was making all the jokes and speculations about Kate, because she disappeared and stuff, and I was just like, guys, you might not want to do this because like this could be like serious.
Yeah.
You probably don't want to do this, and then they were just doing it anyway, and then it's like she has cancer. And it's like, look, I don't like the royals. I don't like the monarchy. I think we should get rid of the whole damn thing. But like a person has cancer, like that's not like, you know what I mean? It's not something you make light of.
Yeah, I get the initial interest of, well, the royals have wiped somebody else off the map a couple of times, and there's probably more times that we don't even know about, kind of thing. So, is there something fishy? But then, yeah, obviously, to the extent that people took it, that was far too much.
Yeah. But like the same thing happened to Meghan in the video I just watched. The same thing happened to Meghan Markle.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We have.
And they just went, nah, peace. Yeah. Fuck this.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
getting out of the system.
This is the most I've ever respected a member of the royal family in my life. Like, you get out of that. You get out of that toxic situation. Get as far away as possible.
You still haven't really got out of it, so.
I mean, they never will, because the British media will never leave them alone. Like in the video, like one of the things they mentioned was something like, and these are not the exact figures because again I didn't memorize the figures, but like in like 4 years, Piers Morgan mentioned Meghan Markle 800 and something times.
He's just so annoyed that she basically doesn't speak to him anymore. Because apparently they were friends, and now because she doesn't really talk to him anymore, it's just like he's literally just went, "Fuck you, there! I'm fucking coming for you."
Well,
and I'm just like, "What the fuck, dude?"
as he tells the story, because again I saw clips. As he tells the story, it's like, you know, he followed her on Twitter, and then they met up.
Definitely how you make friends, obviously.
And that's how I made friends with both of you. And then they went for a drink, and then apparently they had a few drinks, and she was very nice, and he was very nice. And then apparently she went off, left that, and then went on a date with Prince Harry, and then never spoke to him again. And like in my head, I'm thinking Prince Harry's probably like at some point, Piers Morgan's probably come out, like Meghan Markle's been. Harry's gone, oh, what were you up to? And she's like, oh, I was with this guy called Piers Morgan. And then Prince Harry's probably been like, oh, you mean the guy that like hacked my mother's and my voicemail? And then she's probably gone, wow, that guy sounds like a dirtbag.
Yeah. So we're done with him. That's
so we're done with him.
Yeah. Well, the show was so successful. Obviously, it's been renewed and everything. So.
Yeah, didn't get dropped from network TV or anything.
Oh,
nope, not once.
He disappeared. It's like when he marched off the set of Good Morning Britain because somebody accused him of racism.
Challenged him. Yeah.
Accused him of racism. Like, that was the last I heard from him. And it's been smooth sailing ever since.
There you go.
That he still pops up on my time, and I'm just like, oh, for fuck's sake. Basically, every time like something Meghan or Harry turns up, it's like, you know, he's like
at the cockroach.
Yeah, he's like a rat.
I see his tweets every now and again, but probably not in the context he would want. Like I see them in
they're screenshotted by other people.
I see them in screenshots in YouTube video essays. Is usually the punchline.
Yeah.
Aye.
Yeah, he's yeah. We'll see what happens.
Video games, eh?
Yeah. I just thought I'd take you on my weird YouTube.
Hey, I loved it.
Day. How's everybody else doing?
Doing okay. We're still in that weird hangover period from just coming off a really big game and kind of figuring out what vibe I'm feeling in terms of what we're going to play next.
You know what I'm going to say?
It's been good. I know, yeah.
A really
let me see if I can divine it from you. I think it starts with a Y.
It does start with a Y. You're correct.
Yeah, it might end in Akusa like a dragon.
It does end in Akusa like a dragon. Yeah. How did you know? Was it because I've been messaging you about it all week? Was it because I dropped
put him on blast on stream?
Was it because I dropped in on your partner's Twitch stream and put you on blast in chat?
Yeah. Twitch.tv/LollyFox12 for those.
To which she replied, and I quote, "Oh, I'd actually like to watch Vitz play that game."
There you go. We're gonna make it happen then.
How come you haven't already started, Vitz?
Yeah.
Respect.
Oh yeah, you know, Moody. You know how relentless I can be when I'm trying to get my point across.
There's no doubt about it. Yeah, you can be a right pain in the ass sometimes.
I mean, well,
when she wants to get a point across, she goes.
Have I ever steered you wrong? With a video game? With a video game. With video games specifically.
Okay. Really?
We just kind of think about the time. Well, you were in my car one time. You told me to go left, but it was actually right that time.
I probably did. I probably have literally done that before.
But she refuses to turn right, so so it was a long way home to get back to my home.
Make three lefts. You're turning right.
Yeah, someone once told me when I was in college, oh, when you get older, you're gonna get more right wing, and now I'm so militantly against that I don't even take right turns.
There you go.
Well, apparently the youth are not even turning.
Makes getting off the bus a bit difficult, but.
But either way, yeah, I'm all right. Pretty chill. Like, just cracked on basically. Anything else I can do?
Do you have any plans for your big weekend of excitement?
Well, more than a weekend.
Both me and the missus are going to go and see a monkey and a lizard team up to fight an even bigger monkey and a lizard in the cinema tomorrow.
Wait, I thought you were waiting to go to Chester Zoo until I came back down.
Respect. No, we're going to go see Godzilla and Kong tomorrow.
New Empire.
I'm like, I just want to see some fun. I just feel like I need to switch my brain off, and I want to go and see something dumb. So what's more dumb than a lizard, than a gorilla jumping on a lizard while the lizard's running like a human and preparing to fight.
Did you see the previous dumb when the lizard and the monkey fought the mecha lizard?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's so dumb, but it's so awesome at the same time.
Sorry, what was that?
Was that a Power Rangers episode?
It might as well have been.
It could have been, yeah. It really, really could have been.
It didn't have David Jason Frank like playing the little dagger to pull on the dragon's sword. Yeah. Exactly.
Love the Dragon Sword. I can't deny that. Dragon Sword.
Yeah, I still can't get over that show had a white Power Ranger.
I have forgotten so much in my life, but I still remember the story arc where the Green Ranger became the White Ranger from the Power Rangers.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The candle.
Awesome story arc.
Burning and yep.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh fuck, and then he becomes the White Ranger.
Yeah.
And it was at that moment I was like, oh, my tiny child brain was like, wait a minute. These people color coded. And I didn't have the critical thinking capacity to process that until I came across Power Rangers again when they were doing that thing on Twitch.
Yep.
When they were showing all of the Power Rangers, and I was like, well, I'm gonna watch the first one. Obviously, it's amazing. And then within like 5 minutes of the first episode, I was like, it's a bit awkward. That the black and Ranger and the pink Ranger and the yellow Ranger are who they are. Mm-hmm. Oh no. I've got to stop watching old things, basically.
You just gotta
let the past die.
The context has changed, and you're just like, okay.
Yeah, it's
can I get past this? And if you can't, then I can completely appreciate that. You know, like anyone, if things can change and like things can be very dated, and just go,
oh god, yeah.
Oh.
I remember watching. I remember when I first got Paramount Plus, I watched Euro Trip. A film.
Oh god!
Wow.
A film. A film I had watched many times in my younger days. Yeah. Not entirely sober, but not drunk either.
That's the only way to watch that film, by the way.
It turns out, you know what? It's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. That was the first half. I was like, the Michelle Trachtenberg is in it. One. And then there's that guy who plays the actual comic relief. I can't remember the actor, but he turns up in Justified, like the TV show, like later as like a super serious character, and I was like, I can't take him seriously when I'm watching Justified
Because all he wanted to do was
because he's like the sex pervert from Eurotrip.
Yeah.
And I was watching it, and I was like, okay, you know what? It's not great. Like, you know what? Some of the jokes are still quite funny. Vinnie Jones being a racist, like, I could get behind that because the movie's making fun of the fact that he's a racist, and also he's a football hooligan, so I feel like it's intentional.
Yeah.
And I'm about halfway through this film going, there's been some iffy bits. And then they get to Germany. And they're talking to the parents of the girl who they're trying to track down, and then in the background, the child is doing the Hitler march with the arm out and the finger on the upper lip, and I was just like, holy shit!
Different times.
This was in the film.
Yeah. Yep. And then he has sex, and then they have sex in the Pope's thingy at the end.
They do. The whole Vatican sequence was actually, like, because I kept watching after the Germany sequence, and the whole Vatican sequence was probably really offensive if you're a Christian.
Hell fucking yes!
But not being a Christian, I kind of find it funny. They
killed the Pope and announced the new Pope at the same time.
That's efficient.
They didn't kill him. They just set fire to his hat.
That's true. That's true.
But it was. Yeah, but I tend to find that if I revisit media from before a certain time, there's inevitably a moment where I go, "Oh no."
Yeah. It's just one of those things. At the end of the day, it's just. It's like it'd be worse if you didn't realize it. I think at the end of the day, like, and then you'd be like, if someone like, and if we came up to you say, you know, this, and this, it's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah,
what are you talking about? Type of thing.
There's nothing wrong with Dumbo. Don't you dare question.
There's not. I was about to say Dumbo as well. I was like, there's nothing wrong with Dumbo. What the fuck? It's just a cute story about an elephant who can fly.
That's it.
It's like why I keep bringing up freaking the rabbit movie. Fucking Nazi rabbits, for God's sakes!
There was a TikTok. I don't know if this was a new TikTok or not, but I just came across it on someone else's social media. There's a TikTok of some people in Britain opening a British time capsule. Have you seen it? They dig it up and they open it up, and the first thing they pull out of the time capsule is a gollywog. So they pick it up and they get halfway, and then they realize what it is, and they quickly put it down, and they put it back down face down as if that's going to make it so that no one knows what it is.
Of course. Yeah.
It's just like time capsules might not have been a great idea. Just saying.
Bloody Robinsons.
But yeah. Fun times. Fun times.
Yeah.
The video game equivalent of that is the original character model for Jinx in the Pokemon games.
Oh yeah.
I don't know this one.
So essentially, Jinx was wearing blackface, and then they changed it to purple.
Okay.
Yeah.
Goddamn.
Yep.
I don't go back to video games enough. I'm sure there's a lot of problematic video games.
Oh, sure.
Oh yeah.
I mean, there's problematic video games now, so definitely
So
were 20 years ago. The thing about the advantage video games old video games have over old movies and TV shows and whatnot is that they didn't really have stories, so it was more difficult for them, not impossible, but definitely more difficult for them to be offensive. Because
like Bowser was just saving Peach from an abusive Mario. That's all. And Mario came to beat everything up. Taking the piss out there. I'm taking this piss. Joke. Maybe a bad one. I get over it.
And when I rewatched Stargate Atlantis specifically, when I rewatched them last year, I did keep a count of how many war crimes the Stargate Atlantis people did, and it was a lot. They did a lot of war crimes on that show.
I'm sure SG1 did a couple.
I mean, they did a few. They did a few, but Atlantis, I don't know whether it was just because it was half the length of SG1 and it was just condensed. But they did a lot of war crimes.
Well, yeah,
more or less than Israel.
They started off doing they were doing war crimes. I don't really want to compare fictional war crimes to real world war crimes. That's not a road I want to go down. Speaking of war crimes, let's talk about the video game industry.
Oh yes, smooth looks like good.
Interesting.
Just in general, just the video game industry itself is a war crime.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have like a big review to do. Like, there's no like, this is the Final Fantasy VII week. So like, where do you want to start? Like, we can start anywhere.
Can we start with Phil Spencer, please?
Well, I'll start with
And
Phil Spencer. All right.
Yes.
Phil, we trust.
Well, do we?
Yeah, we can. We can start with Phil Spencer. Would you like to tell me what he said, Vitz?
Sure. So this is a headline taken from Eurogamer. So Xbox boss Phil Spencer. He's also Xbox Phil as well.
Xbox Phil boss
concerned
Spencer.
concerned over layoffs due to lack of industry growth. That is essentially the headline that was taken with. So Phil Spencer discussed the devastating waves of layoffs that have impacted the video game industry and said he was most concerned about the overall lack of growth. Okay.
In his pants, so...
Yeah. So yeah, obviously this comes off the context of 1,900 people being laid off across Xbox and Activision Blizzard in January after the acquisition went through, and yeah, essentially his main talking points, at least here, and I initially thought these comments were taken out of context and all the rest of it, but then I read the breadth of the article and was like, oh no, what he was actually saying was worse. So
yeah, no, it was worse. Yeah.
yeah, no, feel free to take the baton and run with it.
I'm looking for a specific part because I'm going to jump in when you say it.
Yeah, so the thing that stuck out to me was that we're a business. I said over and over. I don't get any luxury of not having to run a profitable, growing business inside of Microsoft, and we are that today. But I reflect on friends of mine in the industry which have been displaced and lost their jobs, and how just I don't want this industry to be a place where people can't, with confidence, build a career.
Bad news on
So
that
that's
from
what I
Phil.
have to keep. Yeah. So that's what I keep pivoting back to. How does this industry get back to growth? That is not the takeaway from the sentence you just said.
Can you?
That is
can
not the
you
takeaway
read,
you should be saying, my guy.
Can you read this part? I don't know if you can see where my cursor just went.
Yeah, I'll see where it is.
Oh yes, and when you have an industry that is projected to be smaller next year in terms of players and dollars, you get a lot of publicly traded companies that are in the industry that have to show their investors growth. Because why else does somebody own a share of someone's stock if it's not going to grow?
From the Forbes website, Forbes Advisor, Forbes.com. What is a dividend? A dividend is a distribution, usually in cash, paid by a company to its shareholders. The payments are met out of a company's earnings in a given year. Dividends are usually paid half yearly, but they can also be paid annually, quarterly, and usually made on a per share basis. For example, an investor who owns 100 shares in a company that has announced a 10p dividend would receive a payment of £10. Profit sharing. Basically, a dividend is something that a shareholder gets from a company when it's posted profits. When they post profits, they then tell shareholders how much they're going to pay them per share that they own. So the reason to own shares in a company is not to see them grow, it's to make money off of those shares, and the way they make money off of those shares is through dividends. I'm really fucking annoyed that Phil Spencer forced me to read through an entire Forbes article. But I felt like I had to answer his question.
Yeah.
But it's also like there's a massive caveat to also what Phil Spencer says there as well, because it's like 2020 and 2021 is an anomaly. You fucking idiot, Phil Spencer. You were not going to get the same profit margins you got from those 2 years, especially 2020. And so what do you expect all the people who did buy your console and everything like that, or played your games over those 2 years to continue to do it? No, everyone is now starting to go back out and everything and go and live their lives and whatnot. It's idiotic and imbecilic from him to say these type of things and then come out and say the industry's what does he say?
My main concern is growth.
Lack of growth and everything like that. Yeah.
Well, you know what? As a trans woman, I can empathize with that statement a little bit, but
Yeah.
it shouldn't be growth. It should be sustainability. Like your key
Absolutely.
goal should be sustainability. If your shareholders are mad that your share price isn't going to the moon, then congratulations, you've accidentally taken on shareholders from Wall Street bets, and you should probably get rid of them as fast as possible. MOAS is not going to happen, but the goal of a company should be sustainability. Like the developer of one of my favorite games, Sunless Skies and Sunless Sea, they just said a point. They just put out a statement recently. Fail Better Games, that's the name. They put out a statement recently saying their last game for the game I did last year was the Fallen London dating sim, Mask of the Rose. Didn't really perform very financially well, but because they didn't overinvest in their company because they had a hit out of Sunless Skies, their previous game, and they geared themselves towards sustainability, they don't have to lay anyone off. And have enough
they live
cash.
Within their means?
They lived within their
How
means, and
crazy
now they have cash to survive to make their next game. It's like a small little, and I'm not disparaging them because they're a small company, but how does a small company like Fail Better Games figure this shit out, and Microsoft does not? And also, as well we're talking about caveats to what Phil Spencer said. Phil Spencer's company is responsible for the biggest volume of layoffs in the games industry in the last 18 months.
Yes.
And they just spent $69 billion on acquiring a new company.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's the thing about it. They have money to be able to be sustainable. They choose to forget about sustainability and to be nothing but profit, profit, and profit. And that's just how it is when it comes to this. And so when you hear things like this from him, and I just roll my eyes and just say, "You fucking idiot." That's how it is when it comes to it. It's just it's disingenuous. Everything he's saying, and he knows this.
Mm-hmm. And like the market grew in the US 4% last year. Now I know it's not the double-digit growth that Sarah Bond was talking about and was raving about a couple of months ago that she was targeting, kind of thing. But it's kind of like, okay, console sales are down, but revenue is up. But it's not at the record levels that you want it to be. But it can never be that way in terms of there's only a finite amount of people who can buy your console. They're not going to buy another one because, one, that's just not how console sales work. But then also, you haven't really given your customer base reasons to pick up new consoles with the titles that you're putting out. So then it's okay. You're going to divest into different services, so like Xbox Game Pass and xCloud and all the rest of it. But then it's kind of, again, you're not doing this in a sustainable manner. So Game Pass is not a sustainable platform in the long term, from what I can tell anyway. Obviously, I'm no expert on the matter, but it's one of these where there is a shelf life to all these things, and you're not looking after your people who built the company up to this position. You're going to have to lay them off because you need to keep these investors happy for some reason. And it's like you said, Microsoft has billions in reserves. It's not like they're going to be for lack of wanting when it comes to cash flow when they need to invest in a new project or anything like that. It's all just sad.
I'm glad I clicked on this article.
Yeah, it's the whole thing. Like, if Microsoft can't be sustainable,
they can
with their no, that's what I'm saying. No, it's this thing. We all know they can, but they choose not to be, and that's the thing. That's what makes it even worse. And I'm just like, Phil. The more and more he speaks, the less and less I think fondly of him. Like a few years ago, it was what was it? In Phil we trust, like I said at the beginning and everything. I do not trust this man or anything like that. And is it not him? And he's getting overruled all the time. There's that chance. There's no doubt about that.
What I think might be happening is when Phil Spencer took over the Xbox division, obviously it was in the toilet. The Don era, we'll call it.
Yeah. Don Carlos era.
Yeah. But so you got to build that back up, right? So you get a grace period in a situation like that.
Yeah.
And then obviously we had the period where he was, everything that Phil was talking about was, announcing Game Pass, announcing backwards compatibility, like a lot of really player first, player friendly, like things that we like there's something in his all of his like announcements for all of us, right? Like I was really happy when he announced backwards compatibility. I thought it was awesome, and the fact that you could just stick a disc that you had into your console and play it. It's like, fuck, that's amazing. Like, I don't even need to buy the game again, and I totally would have, but now I just put a disc in, and it's great.
And it's upscaled and runs at a better frame rate and all the rest of it for free.
It just works, but it actually just works. But like, what's happening now is you're seeing Phil in the bad times, where it's like these are the challenging times. And what we're seeing is Phil is just another CEO. He's just another executive.
I don't think he's built out to be it. That's the thing about it. I think obviously, like you said, I mean, he had that grace period where Microsoft were probably saying, "Okay, we're in a really bad situation. Do what you need to do," and everything like that. And he's done that. But now, and he set out a plan, which was probably like I would look at it, looking at the plan, I would say that's a plan that's an awesome looking plan to get Microsoft back. You know, getting back with the players, the gamers, and everything like that, and the fans been reasonably going well and everything, but now they've started to show their hand where they bought up obviously all of these studios, the two publishers in Bethesda and Activision, and they're now losing the people again. I think for the most part, like the whole thing, what happened a months ago, was it about a month ago with exclusivity and everything like that? Oh my god, that just showed how much of like. Phil, your plan might have been working at the beginning. It is now not working. The gamers, you have now become the gamers' enemy because you've already said 4 are going to go to exclusive. We all know they're all going to go exclusive eventually. We know this is going to happen. Phil, like I still stated that when we watched that, the whole podcast thing or everything like that, Phil looked exhausted. And there's no doubt he had a bad week that week. He was probably very physically tired, but he does still to this day looks incredibly exhausted. I still stand by that. If I heard he's leaving soon or like by the end of the year, I still won't be surprised by that because he's a man who's just like, how much more kickings can he take? Like my kickings towards him are just like I'm getting worried from the person who you were is not the person I'm seeing right now type of thing. But everyone else is like the Xboxers, they are laying into him like crazy, and the brand and everything, and they're not happy with it. And so for me, I'm just like, get out. For me, I'm just like, get out and save yourself because you are not the person who I saw all those years ago.
If they were committed to their strategy, that would be fine, and stuck to that messaging, then that would be fine. But like you said, they're saying, only four of our exclusive titles are going to go multi-platform. But of course, they're going to do great numbers. They're going to sell more. They're going to raise more money in terms of revenue for their studios and all the rest of it. It's going to be hunky-dory. They're then not going to leave that money on the table from what else is left in the exclusive table, to your point, kind of thing. But then also, as rumors to be believed, in June or July this year, they're going to announce the all-digital Xbox Series X, and then probably towards the end of the year, if not early next year, they'll unveil what is to be their equivalent of a PS5 Pro, like Xbox Series Z or whatever it is, kind of thing. And yet, he started that speech a month ago to say, okay, here's the reasons why. I'm telling you that we are still invested in making hardware for you, giving you reasons to buy into the platform in terms of the hardware. And it's one of these where, because the writing is already on the table, where you're going to put these titles multi-platform, they're going to do great numbers. Therefore, you have it doesn't make sense to not put your other titles there because you're in this third position behind Nintendo, behind Sony, and all the rest of it. So it's one of these where then you're going to have to go back on your word and say, oh, remember what we said before? Well, actually, we're not going to do that. But we've got a new shiny box to tell you, and we're gonna send you more lies as to why you should buy this box. And then in 6 months' time, we're going to do it all over again. And it's just how can you do this to a person as a how can a corporation do this per person and essentially make him a scapegoat at the end of it?
Can we vote? I vote we call the PS5 Pro version of the Xbox Series EX.
Nice. XX. Okay, got it. Yeah, I like that.
That's what I was doing. I saw Moody clock me. Right? I was like, you saw me doing this, and I was like, does that work? Does the acronym work? And I was like, it does, yeah. I don't know. Like,
Mr. Spencer?
I know, like Xbox fans and stuff. Like, I mean, I was there. You were there. You were there with me. We all went through it. Like, you know, we saw what we saw. We laughed about what we laughed about. And like, yeah, sure. I mean, I don't feel any empathy for it. I'm sorry you tied your identity into a brand. You shouldn't have done that. Like,
Agreed.
Xbox is going to do what's best for Xbox. If that means selling its games on all the platforms, then that means selling its games on other platforms. At the end of the day, that means more people get to play these cool games, and I'm okay with that.
Yep.
Like,
Agreed.
I don't think it's a bad strategy for Xbox to do that. And I like, if that pisses you off, so be it. Like,
You've got other problems.
There's a level of Xbox fan that I just cannot like get on the mindset of, like, understand the mindset of, like, and that's where I'm at with that. But I mean, as far as the strategy goes, they're testing it out with 4 games. They can't just go all in, like, in case it doesn't work, because then it just becomes another Xbox blunder. Because it's not.
Yeah.
It's not nailed on that these 4 games are going to sell gangbusters. It's not like they're the 4 best, most sought after games of that are in the Xbox catalog. So it's like you gotta test the water and see what happens. Like, do I think they're going to sell well? I think they're going to sell well. I think people forget that Grounded has an audience. I think people forget that Sea of Thieves has an audience. I think Pentiment was one of the best games of the last 5 years. As was. Was it Hi-Fi Rush? I thought. Oh yeah,
Hi-Fi Rush was
it's
the other
coming to
title,
PlayStation, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
But not Nintendo. What happened there, Jeff? But like, I think like the games will sell well, and then I think they'll evaluate it again, and we'll see where we go from there. I don't think, as someone who likes to make wild predictions and somehow hits the target more than I should, like, I don't want to like try and read the tea leaves on this one, because I don't know what's going through Xbox's head. I don't know 100% what their strategy is at the moment. But I do think we're heading towards a future where there are, maybe it's not every single Xbox game is on another platform, but a lot of them are. But you got to remember, is all Xbox games are on another platform, because they're on the PC as well.
Yeah, because they're on PC.
You don't even need the box. If you've got a PC, you don't even need the box. If you've got a new Samsung TV, all you need is a controller. Like, Xbox ditched the buy a plastic box to play games strategy a long time ago.
No, absolutely. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they spin, an all digital Series X and then the Xbox X EX later on this year. It's just interesting when they talk about, okay, we're gonna do this strategy, which in theory goes against what Xbox the faithful want, for a better word, the faithful is in the delusional people out there kind of thing. But then also, he's also talking about, when we should come up with a new portable device and all the rest of it. It's kind of,
you have one.
What are you saying? Yes,
it's this.
Yeah,
I can play Xbox
every
games on this.
person has one.
Like, double down on this being a portable device. Like, and to the people who keep saying, "Oh, I would love an Xbox portable," you've got one. Yep. You can attach controller things to it, and look, you can see Vitz in the reflection of it. Like, Vitz is on Xbox Game Pass. That's the new reveal.
Go around.
But no. Like, the thing about Xbox gets a lot of shit for its messaging, and I agree they're not the greatest at putting across what they're trying to say. I'm not talking about what happened the other month. Mm-hmm. That was, they got caught out. They couldn't just say what they needed to say straight away, because it's got to go through, like, business and levels and layers and messaging and make sure that they're saying what they actually mean. But I think part of the problem is that fanatic level, as you call it, or I think they allow themselves to be led around too much by that. I think that they just need to ignore them. As much as like, I know that goes like, people are going to call me anti-consumer or whatever, saying you need to ignore your fans. No, I think you need to listen to your fans. I think you need to ignore the people who have, like, Xbox, I don't know, fever. I don't know, what would you call it? Like, there's the fans, and then there's the and then there's the nutters. Like, I'm sorry, like that's probably not the right thing to say, but there's the people who cause
the right thing to say.
There's the people who cause the kickoff, and I think you just need to let them just spin themselves out in the corner and do what you got to do.
Because ultimately, they are still a vocal minority.
Yeah,
the vast majority of the people, A, didn't know that this was happening. B, don't give a damn that this is happening because they got their games anyway. That's where they play their games. Their games aren't going anywhere. What does it matter to them, kind of thing? And it's probably going to come to a situation where, how I see it, to be that Xbox first-party studio titles are going to be exclusive to
Game Pass.
Xbox hardware for or Game Pass for 12 months, and then they'll come to other systems. And to be honest, I can see PlayStation doing a similar thing in terms of what they're doing with their PC strategy, in terms of games released exclusively on their own hardware, and then 1 to 2 years later they come over to PC and they get refreshed and all the rest of it. And I don't see that as a bad thing. More people get to play brilliant games. How is that a bad thing? More people get more money. The studios become more flush with cash. In theory, they get more reasons to hang on to their stuff and treat them properly. It's win-win-win.
It's win-win, theoretical, hypothetical
Yes.
win. Would be nice. Would be nice in a just society. But yeah, no, I think we need to stop breaking down. I think we need to stop breaking down the idea of exclusives being locked to consoles and exclusives being the reason that people buy consoles. You can't tell me that PlayStation has such a commanding lead in the market purely because of The Last of Us and God of War.
Oh no, of course not.
That's not true. Like, I'm sure some people do choose PlayStation over a different console because they want to play those games, just like I'm sure people buy a Switch purely because they want to play Mario and Peach, which we'll talk about later. Princess Peach has a game now.
She sure does.
But like, no, software isn't, like, in terms of the Xbox and Microsoft war, as much as it exists in the minds of the people that it exists in, not necessarily in reality. Like, I think exclusives aren't the sole reason people buy PlayStation over Xbox.
Yeah, I think it all stems from the blunder of the Xbox One and how that was originally marketed with the Kinect and all sorts, and how that was all, Call of Duty to begin with, and it's TV, Call of Duty, and then from that point, it's kind of the goose was cooked kind of thing. It's what you're going to do when your competitors coming in, I think at the time, like $100 cheaper. And then it doesn't matter what title you bring at that point, kind of thing. Well, and then you get into the ecosystem, and then the rest is history.
And like Phil has said himself, I'm pretty sure Phil said it was the worst generation to lose in terms of sales, because what's happened is that generation of console has become because all of the games that you bought digitally have come forward with you into this generation.
Yeah, they're you're in that ecosystem.
That's why you started building a library. So if you bought a PS4 and you've got all those PS4 games, like, that's where your library is. It's going to be a real tough sell to switch over to a console where you don't have that library. And Game Pass can fill that in a bit, but, like, I've got so many games on on my PlayStation account. Like, I don't really want to ditch it. Like,
that's it. And that's where the community is.
Like, you've got the Yakuza on Game Pass. I own them. All of them.
Yes.
On PlayStation. Except,
yeah. Where would you like to go next, friends?
Sorry, Moody. We just kind of had a bit of a tennis match there.
What are you apologizing for?
The one thing I will say is at least Phil Spencer didn't say something as stupid as the video game industry is recession proof. When I saw this interview, the first thing I thought of was Jim Ryan's the industry's recession proof from a couple of years ago.
Did it come from his bobblehead?
How did that turn out, Jim? Is the industry still recession proof? You fucking muppet. What's that? You don't have a job anymore? I'm shocked.
I'm sure you have a golden parachute, though.
Sorry, Moody, go on.
No, that's good of the thing that we touched on while Vitz was bringing up that amazing parcel. Dragon's Dogma 2 microtransaction and stuff.
Oh, yeah, right. Me and Mooney almost had a podcast discussion while you were gone and getting that parcel from your front door before we started recording. Yeah, Dragon's Dogma 2. Everybody's getting mad about microtransactions. I don't know. Like a certain podcaster said midweek, they should be getting mad about the frame rate. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
But apparently everyone's mad about the microtransactions. As a veteran of the JRPG genre, for many, many years. Microtransactions like this have existed in JRPGs for a very long time. Like, I remember Persona 5 had these types of microtransactions, and that was 2017. So it was a while ago, and I know for a fact that there was a game that came out a couple of years before that had them, because I got a review code, and I remember buying one because it did a thing where it like meant I didn't have to grind. And I was like, you know what? I didn't pay for the game. I'll give them like £3 to skip a grind session. And that was like 2015, I think, or 2016. So that's a long time ago. No, it was a JRPG. I'm specifically talking about JRPGs here. Okay. So like everyone's getting mad about Dragon's Dogma 2, and I'm like, dudes, this fight was over a long time ago. Where were you?
The thing is,
when we needed you.
Yeah, they're complaining about it now, like, but the thing is, Capcom have been like this for years. Like they've put.
Have you seen Resident
Evil?
Evil?
Yeah, I was gonna say microtransactions for like crazy. They'll have it for Monster Hunter Wilds next. What Wilds? Yeah, Wilds next year. We know this and everything like that. It's just one of those things, and everything what they do and everything. Like, I don't like what you're saying. Like at the beginning, it was like it's like they should be more annoyed about the frame rate and everything like that. For me, it's more they should be annoyed. But I'm annoyed about that them supporting a complete asshole who's getting developers bullied and everything. But the priorities, I guess, at the end of the day when it comes to a video game and everything. We saw that last year, so who gives a fuck, fuck about people's lives. But yeah, when it comes to the microtransactions, the whole thing's been there for a while when it comes to Capcom, and it's no difference.
I don't want to misrepresent myself. I mean, they are shit, and I don't think they're a good thing at all. I don't want it to come across as like I'm trying to defend microtransactions or something, because I'm about to say something.
Amy's like, you know what, capitalism?
You know what, capitalism? You've won me over. £1.69 for a fast travel point, which, by the way, as someone who's not played Dragon's Dogma 2, I'm fucking annoyed that I know this and a bunch of people don't seem to bother to do the research on this, because obviously it's impossible to escape people talking about Dragon's Dogma 2 online at the moment, and I've seen a lot of the microtransaction complaints. And it's like, complain about microtransactions all you want. I'm right there with you. They suck, but don't make shit up about them. Like, one of the primary complaints was like, you pay for fast travel, and I was like, what? How do you even pay money to fast travel in a video game? That doesn't make sense. So I did what I did with the Forbes article and Phil Spencer's question, and I Googled it. Or I didn't. I binged it because Google doesn't work properly anymore. And like, no, you don't pay for fast travel. That fast travel is in the game. I don't know how you would possibly code it to not be in the game unless you paid real money for it. You can buy a single fast travel point that you can put anywhere on the map. So on top of using fast travel to go to like towns or whatever, it's like you can also go at this one point on the map. And it really fucking annoyed me that, like, I've said this before about stuff like this, where it's like, if something is bad, like, yeah, you should push back on it, but push back on it with facts. Don't make shit up to make it sound worse than it is. Like, because that doesn't help.
Is it more of that? Because I'm only going off. I'm only going off from the Steph Sterling video I watched and everything like that, and they made it out that they said that it's more of that the fast travel system is so bad that it's kind of basically making you need to go and buy microtransaction points or whatever you need to be able to to have enough points to be able to put down that marker type of thing. So and I think that's what it's about.
I haven't watched the video. I haven't watched that video, and I haven't played the game, so I'm not going to speak to authority as to how it works. But it's a single thing that you can only buy once. So if it was designed in the game in such a way that, like, it's moving you towards spending money on that microtransaction, it's not a loot box. It's not like an infinite lever that you can keep pulling. It's like you can buy one. So if that was the case, it's a shit business decision, because it's £1.69. Like, it's going to drive people to spend £1.69 and then get frustrated that they can't do it again because they won't be. You can only buy one. You can buy one, and that's it.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think it's because it costs also a lot of money in the game to do it.
I don't know how the
in-game currency.
I don't know how the fast travel system works. I have seen people talking about Dragon's Dogma 2, and it does seem like it's designed in a very specific way. Like, I know the fast travel system is something along the lines of you can catch a cart but to go from point A to point B, but sometimes the cart can be interrupted. You can be attacked on the way and whatnot. That's the extent of what I know about it. And honestly, that sounds fucking sick. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I'm like, that's pretty cool. Like, cause if I was on a cart and there was dragons and a dragon attack, I wouldn't be surprised. But like,
from what I hear,
I don't
the
know.
dragon attacks in that game are quite. There's some other ramifications for you and your party.
Yeah, I've
when
heard
you come
about
across
Dragon's Plague as well. Like, it's designed to be it's designed to be a game with a lot of friction, and there's a deeper discussion to be had about that. But I don't want to have that discussion because I haven't played the game. So
yeah, the one thing I did want to say on this is that a lot of reviewers got stick about why they didn't quote unquote bring up these microtransaction issues during their review
because they didn't know they were there. Because I'm being a reviewer, you don't know what microtransactions are in a video game. You can't see the store page. Sorry.
So
Personal
from my understanding, the litany of microtransactions and the things you can buy at the moment, they are akin to the stuff you would have got included if you pre-ordered the game or got a deluxe version of the game kind of thing. And I know some podcasters this week were reading through the blurb that comes with the review code to say, and it usually details, okay, there's an issue here which we know of, and it's going to get patched before launch and all the rest of it. And here are a list of the microtransactions, and it's all listed there, kind of thing. But from the experience that the reviewers played, and from what I'm hearing anecdotally, the game doesn't beat you over the head to say, "Ooh, there's microtransactions available. Why don't you go to the store and see what how you can spend extra money with us?" I don't think it's egregious on that point of view. So I think it's one of these where people are angry even though it's not inconvenience them directly. And I know there's a lot of issues in the world where we should get angry at stuff that is not inconvenience us directly, but it's one of these of people just being mad for the sake of being mad when it comes to a video game. And the notion of microtransactions, even though the game isn't, from what I gather, isn't directly built around making money, it's built around delivering a great game first, which happens to have some microtransactions in it.
It's not like when I got my review copy of Assassin's Creed Odyssey from Ubisoft, and I opened the menu to level up, and there was a whole fucking storefront in there.
Yeah.
The game wasn't even out yet. And I was like, what the fuck?
Oh, but if you pay us $10.99, then you'll get a double XP for the whole of the game.
Moody I'm pretty sure Moody was here when I reviewed that game. I was not pleased.
Yeah, we created a progression system throughout the game. Dude, balances like the enemy AI to what you have, or you can just spend some money with us and completely break the system. It's brilliant.
Yeah, like there's a lot. I'm just looking, and it's contextless lines on a page, so I don't really know what any of them do. But like none of it seems like anything I haven't seen out of like Resident Evil, like we talked about before, or like Persona or something. It's like, I don't know, it sucks. It sure does. But like again, I guess I got a bit wound up when I realized that like the thing that people were saying online wasn't true.
Wait, the thing that online is saying is not true?
But it's like
everything you read on the internet.
It annoys me more. It annoyed me more because I was like, "You're making a good point, but you're invalidating it because you're saying something that's not true."
Hi.
We should probably mention. I think we mentioned it last week, but yeah, you can get Asmongold as like an official pawn in this game, and like that guy sucks so much. Like holy shit.
Are actively endorsing developer harassment with any involvement with that individual.
Yeah, like. What the fuck, Capcom? And this isn't new. I've seen the defense of it be like, well, you know, they probably signed the contract before the Sweet Baby Inc. stuff. It's like, this guy's been at it for years.
Like, they just didn't do the research. Yeah.
Oh no, they did. They decided, you know what, it's fine. They'll get us more. They'll just get more eyeballs on a.
They opened this channel. They saw his number of subscribers, and they went, shit. Let's do that.
Probably, yeah, no doubt about it. Yeah.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing E3's dead, so we can market like this now.
Just on top of that, shame on Team 17 as well.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Team 17 revealed a whole ass fucking game on the guy's channel. He interviewed the developers. I've seen his videos. I'm morbidly curious to watch this interview because I can't believe it's a good interview. I don't think he knows what a video game is.
Nope.
Personally.
Do you reckon he knows more what a video game is than, say, Jim Ryan?
No, Jim Ryan knows what a video game is.
Okay.
Just doesn't know how to treat the employees.
He just doesn't know anything about like how to make one. It's fine.
Right. Okay.
and not act like a robot.
And not say dumb shit like our industry is recession proof.
And then or we're going to lay a bunch of people off, but also I'm going to send an internal email to all my staff with mentions of my cats in there for no good reason when international women are having their rights taken away from them. But it's let's talk about my cats.
On a personal level, like I'm scratching this down. That fucking email caused me so much fucking stress. It's unreal because I was ready to flip a switch and go fucking nuclear. But unfortunately, and I know Moody's going to laugh. He's not going to take it personally. Unfortunately, I was on a podcast with this dickhead who at the time worked for PlayStation.
It was when I begun at PlayStation. It was like my second week. I think I got the email, the first week. It was funny.
Yeah.
Online to the email.
You got the email and you told me about the email and what you're getting it and stuff. And I was like, we can't talk about it. And to his credit, I'm actually going to say that I know you won't mind me sharing this. To your credit, you actually said, you talk about it, and I'll just sit there silently. And I was like, that's going to look so much worse. I'll wait until you're not here, which was the next week. And then poor Elfie came into the podcast the next week, and I went,
got it with both barrels, yeah.
Was that also the podcast I had COVID?
No.
I don't think I would
think so.
I don't think I would have made it.
After.
Yeah. It was a weird time when Boone had worked at PlayStation, but that was a total.
It really is. Like I've said it, and I've said on multiple occasions when I was there and everything for it. Like I've openly loved my time at PlayStation. I openly admit that they were so good to me and everything. And I'm at the place now where I'm at because of them. I've stated that to my boss who I work with now. But yeah, like some of the stuff, like I'm just like, fucking hell, like seriously, it's insane. But like when I've said on many occasions, like when we got that email and the team were talking about it, everyone was saying that is not going to go down well at all. And literally by the end of the day, because my shifts were 12-hour shifts, 7 to 7. So I was like, so by the time I got out on the night, finished and had a look at my phone. That went on fire.
We were already gone.
Yeah.
No, I mean to your point, like obviously when I went to PlayStation London, like everybody there was fucking incredible. Like it was such a great experience. Like the people who work at these places are amazing. The trouble is, you got people like Jim.
It's just the executives as always. At the end of the day.
Yeah. I was talking to Sadie about that, you know.
She bringing Go format back
the other day. No, not yet. I'm working on it. Okay, I'm working on it. You know me. I'm persistent. I play the long game. But no. I was talking about the fact that because obviously I went to interview at PlayStation. Like I don't mind. I guess I don't mind talking about it now, like properly openly, because the studio's closing down. And that was kind of what I was talking about, where it's like I went for an interview there and I got so close. So close to getting a job and didn't get it. And obviously, like, I was, like, pretty fucked up over it. But then they announced the studio closure, and my first reaction was like, oh, my God, this sucks. Like, for all the people that I met and all the people I didn't meet, who were probably just as awesome. But there was also, like, a point where it's like, I would have only been there a year.
Yeah.
And there's, like, this, like, did I just dodge a bullet?
Yeah, because in theory, you may have like uprooted your life to move down there, even if it was like initially remotely and all the rest of it. But yeah, you would have uprooted your life into one of the, if not the most expensive parts of the country.
And then it's like, well, I don't have a job anymore, and a year's experience as a production intern would not have gotten me anywhere else. But yeah, no, I just thought it was a weird thing. It's like what. I can kind of tie this into what Phil Spencer said in that previous article we read, where it's like, oh, you know, I hope we're not creating a situation where people can't make stable careers. I mean, it's like, I would have been a year and done, man. Like, you're 100% currently creating an industry where people can't make stable careers. I went from almost getting a job at PlayStation to I can't even get replies to fucking job applications anymore. And you know what? I totally respect it because I have no experience. There's so many people out there who have so much more experience. I respect the fact that I'm not getting replies.
Yeah, like it's insane to think like my boss laughed at this when I said this, and he said, "Really, is that it? Is that actually true?" Because he actually didn't realize this was true. He said, apparently, like after 5 years, I'm dubbed as the senior of the industry, and I said, I'm almost like I'm going to be like 2 years in a couple of months' time, technically, and I'm just like, and he's just like, that is fucking, trust me, you won't be. I went, yes, I know. I know that. Trust me, I know, boss. I know.
So
it's really funny to me.
Hassan Minaj did a brilliant special on the video game industry as part of his Patriot show which aired on Netflix and available on YouTube at the time. And they brought up that very point that 5 years you're considered a senior in the industry because the level of burnout that you get just from the periods of crunch that you get and the constant struggle of, okay, let's hire up, and then these are contractors. Once the project's done, once you ship a game, then we fire everybody and all that. And the cyclical nature of the industry means that very few people make it past like 5 years within the industry, and then they just burn out in terms of it's just to our point what we were talking about. It's just not sustainable. And this was back a couple of years ago, and everybody knows what it's like now.
Yeah, that's true. I have a thing though, like Moody, when you hit 2 years in the industry, let's have a celebration. We'll have a party. We'll do it on Twitch. I'll load up Bramble. Come into Discord. You come in,
break it again in front of me.
You come into Discord, and I will try my hardest to break that game in ways you couldn't even possibly imagine.
I'm curious about one thing. I know I'm not far off it, so I'm actually a little bit curious.
Wait, are we actually doing this? I'm down. I'll try and break this game. I already did once, twice.
There you go. So you can do it again.
I can do it again.
I love how you like Apollo Creed in this situation. Just say, I'll beat the baby before, I'll beat him again.
I clipped through that wall before, and I'll clip through it again. I'll clip through other walls. I'll find a way through the floor. Fucking.
I'm 2 years and 2 weeks.
Damn.
Congrats.
The 11th of April.
Party time, baby.
Hell. I did not realize that. Oh shit!
Hey, we recorded on that day.
I was about to say it. Isn't that Thursday?
That's Thursday.
Sick.
Oh shit!
Well, I guess I'm playing Bramble. We're playing Bramble for the podcast.
There you go. Yeah.
Oh shit! That's insane. Yeah, and I'm 2 years in September at my job I'm at now.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, because it was the same year.
Wow.
Never forget this motherfucker. I know we need to go for a halftime break, but I need to share this story with Vitz because I don't think he's heard it. I'll never forget this motherfucker, right? And he knows I mean this with all the love.
I know.
This motherfucker. I'm out and about, having a good day. Just chilling, just doing my thing. I'm not even in the house. I'm shopping for essentials. I'm buying like shampoo. Like I think I was buying some face wash or something. And I'm just like, having a great day. I get a text message off Moody. Can we talk? I'm like, yeah, sure, man. Like, whatever. What about? Like, because, he wants to talk to me all the time.
Yeah.
And, like, as long as I've got my phone in my vicinity, I'll chat whenever. Yeah, sure. What's up? No, can I call you?
No context on the text. It's just across very serious.
I mean, I'm out right now. I'll be in the house later. Yeah, I'll do that. At no point.
Still no context.
He didn't even do the thing where he tried to reassure me that it was fine. Yeah. Which wouldn't have worked anyway because it would have just been like he's lying. So like it's like noon and we're meeting up at like 6. So I've got like 6 hours to just
stew on it. Yeah,
everything's going through my brain.
To find a replacement.
I wasn't even like, oh my god, he's leaving the podcast. It's just going up and up from there. And then like obviously we sat down. He called me and he's just like, all right, I've got something to tell you. And I'm like, cool, yep, I'm playing it cool. And on the inside, I'm like, just tell me what the fuck is going on, man. You fucking, like, I'm screaming in my head. And he's like, I got a job. And I'm like, all right, like, what, at like Burger King or something? Like, I don't know. Like, because you're still at college, so for months. As far as I knew, you were still at college for like the rest of the year. So I was like, "Wow, you got a part-time job? Wait, like doing what? Like, are you at Smith's? Am I going to get like discount at Smith's now? Is this why you're telling me?" He's like, "No, it's at PlayStation." And I don't think I reacted appropriately, but I think it was mostly because I was like coming down off of like 6 hours of anxiety that I wasn't immediately like, "Fuck, that's amazing." I was just like, oh shit, that's really good. And I remember like we spent like a good 15-20 minutes talking about it, and you were like, yeah, so it means I'm not going to be on the podcast on like these weeks and these weeks and these weeks. And I was trying to be like, Moody, I don't give a shit, fucking shut up and talk about your job at PlayStation, that sounds awesome. But we only talked about it for like 20 minutes, and then we spent two hours talking about Star Trek. But not just any Star Trek. For somehow we got on the topic of this this like old 1990s, like they did this whole like celebration thing leading up to like the premiere of Star Trek Voyager, and I found it on YouTube, and we were watching it, presented by Craig Charles.
Absolutely, that's it.
Just so before we were watching it. Yeah, we were watching it on YouTube, and so like we celebrated Moody getting a job at PlayStation by doing that. Basically, Moody tortured me for 6 hours, and then and then we watched an old BBC broadcast of Star Trek.
There you go.
That day was like bonkers for me. It really was. It's like, so I had the interview. Literally within like about not even an hour of after getting interviewed, they basically called me up to offer me the position because it was a fast-paced position. They wanted to get people in as fast as possible and everything for it. And I was just like, they didn't tell me when they would. They didn't tell me in the interview when they would want me, which was kind of really annoying. That's on me as well. I should have asked them, but they didn't tell me for that. And they said you would need to be down here by next Monday. And I was like, I can't remember. I don't know if it was I think it was a Wednesday. I think when I had the interview, and I'm just like, oh, what the fuck? Okay.
Just for context, it's down here, other side of the country.
Yeah, yeah. I'm just like, okay. I don't know if I can do that. Like straight away. Like I could probably do it within a month. Like I was saying that to them. 2 weeks maybe, but that's like I'm pushing it. Like I'll be on hype mode for like 48 hours to try and find somewhere type of thing, if not even more. So I said, okay, I'm gonna have to talk to my mom and my partner and everything like that. So thankfully, my partner's amazing, my mother's amazing, everything like that. Said, just go, everything will be fine. Go, and everything like that. Okay, and I was like, so I called them back and said, all right, I'm in. Amy wasn't in the context of my brain at that time.
She shouldn't be. She shouldn't be. Just to say, I'm not saying I should
be. On the totem pole of
No, I shouldn't be a part of this at all. Like, But
so basically,
next time you have some news,
context,
even if you want to talk about it face to face, I'm totally fine with that. Just give me the news first.
Or just say, don't worry, it's really great news. That's all we need. And then let's panic.
My brain was like moving so fast that day. Like my ADHD was all over the place that day.
It's probably how we ended up talking about Star Trek. But no, it was a great day.
Slowed me down, I think.
Like I'm not going to pretend it wasn't a stressful like 4 months trying to constantly replace you week to week. But like, you know what? It was awesome. I was so happy.
Yeah. And then obviously I landed at the place I'm at now, which I'm full time. And I'm able to do this podcast basically every day now. So
and one day he's going to get me a job there, and it's all going to be fine. Yeah, he doesn't know this yet, but
there's musicians down in the pub if you want to come down the pub.
Yeah, surprisingly, I don't want to work in a pub.
That's fair.
No offense to Sophia. No,
that's fine. No, yeah. Damn, I didn't realize that. That's insane. 2 weeks away. Fuck.
Yeah. Anyway, it's half time.
Congrats, buddy.
How time flies.
Time does fly indeed. We'll celebrate your 2-year anniversary on the podcast. Do you want to? Is there any way you could like put it off So like instead of it being like on like in what is it, 2 weeks? Do you think it could be in 4 weeks? Because then it would be the 400th episode of the podcast, and we can do a whole thing where it's like Moody's been in the games industry for 2 years, and it's a 400th episode of the podcast.
So the 25th of April.
Yeah, we'll just pretend for a day.
We just won't say anything in 2 weeks, but then the 25th.
We'll text you and say like, "Hey, congrats" and stuff. Like, and then we'll pretend in 2 weeks after that. We'll pretend it's been 2 weeks.
Love it.
It's time for Indie Game of the Week.
Yeah.
This is the thing we do every week where we talk about cool looking upcoming indie game. I saw this one posted by Aravel. I believe she's working on it, or a company's working on it. It's
awesome.
called
Raw Fury, right?
Raw Fury. They're a great company. They're a great indie publisher. I've worked with them before when I was a game reviewer, and also they make good games. And this one looks like no exception. It's called Bluesky, and it looks pretty spiffy. I'm putting it out there, spiffy.
There you go.
Don't use that word often.
Or ever.
Or ever. I've never used it before. I felt like it was time to pull it out of the the cupboard.
Yeah.
You gotta get that. Gotta get a word. It's like, how do I convey the fact that this is a really good game? Because if people have heard me say that about hundreds of games at this point, like, how do I convey how serious?
Its impact.
Exactly. How do I convey how serious I am about how good this game looks? I need to use a word I've never used before. Spiffy. It looks spiffy. It looks really cool. It's like an adventure game where you're in a house and you're exploring it, but as you go to a door, each door you go to, like, you decide between like one of 3 different rooms that's behind that door, like, and you gather them by like finding blueprints and stuff like that, and then behind the doors is like a puzzle that you solve to maybe like deepen the mystery, or maybe you find new blueprints, and then like you keep going until like, you know, it's a roguelike, so you go pop and then you're back to the beginning, the whole, like, the next night the whole mansion's changed, you got to do it again. It's a really cool, it looks like a really cool and interesting concept for a video game.
Hell yeah. I would pay money to have like a DLC reskin of this game where it's purple Prince and you play as Prince in this game, but I'll hit up Helen and see what she says.
Do it, hit her up, tell her, link into this exact thing where I call the game spiffy. And then, and then we're like, look, we have a request too. Like, now,
an equally spiffy idea.
I don't know what Raw Fury's budget is for this game, but
the Princess set can't ask that much, honestly.
Hear me out. What if instead of the game being the Blueprints, we just call it the Prince, and then we just cast Abigail Thorne, star of the Prince, in the game.
Is that good?
Huh?
I don't know. I haven't watched it yet. I've had a Nebula subscription for like 6 months. I got the Nebula subscription specifically to watch the Prince. I've watched a lot of stuff on Nebula, but I haven't watched the Prince yet.
Yeah, that's really annoying me. Yeah, I thought you might have watched it. Okay.
No, but I love
formerly known as
Thorne,
Blueprints. We love it.
Yeah, the game, the Prince, formerly known as Blueprint, starring Abigail Thorne. And then in the game, you find purple rooms.
There you go. Now you're thinking.
No, you find rooms where it's raining, and the rain is purple.
Is purple. And your costume? Raspberry beret.
Right? Yeah, exactly. You get it. So get on that. Like,
yes, wish list.
I'm sure wish list the game. We'll talk to our people. We'll see if we can get all this added to the game. Like, I'm sure it's within the budget scope of Raw Fury. You know, it's fine. I'm sure it's fine. But the original game, as I described it, still sounds spiffy.
Yes.
You ever just wake up in one of those moods?
Yes.
You just want to be silly all day.
All the time. We have one of these silly days.
I'm having a silly day.
Uh-huh.
But now I'm going to have a silly break because silly Amy needs to pee. Not silly.
Have fun.
I don't need more drink. There's no drink left.
Yeah, I'm also going to recharge the glass. Yeah. All right.
See you in a minute. Go!
I don't want to.
Tough. It's in your contract.
I didn't sign a contract.
I was going to say I didn't sign anything either.
That's what you
Let's
think.
go to games checking in because I'm actually interested, Amy. How is Princess Peach?
So, I spent a weekend with Princess Peach, and it was
Lucky you.
Showtime.
It was Showtime.
It was Showtime. It's only the second ever game, Princess Peach game, which just fucking blows my mind. I actually got an email off of Nintendo this afternoon. You know how sometimes when you play their games, you occasionally get randomly selected to fill in surveys?
Oh, yeah.
So
Oh,
like,
no.
I got randomly selected to fill a survey in, and I was literally just like, every answer I could, I was just like, make more Peach games. Like, if any kind of option existed where it was like, why did you play? Like, what were the reasons of you wanted to play this game? And it was like, because Peach was the star.
Yeah,
It's like,
Peach was the
come on, give me more Peach games. But yeah, no, I played this.
Peach, I'm there.
I played this over a weekend. It's I finally found out what kind of game it is. Yeah, it is because we had the thing last week where I was like, I tried to find out what kind of game it was and I couldn't. It's a 2D 2D game. Like, you got different levels. They're called performances. Because the whole sort of gimmick of the game is Peach goes to the theater to have a lovely time, and she does not have a lovely time. Because this Queen Grape takes over the theater and like she's fucking around with all the players to try and create the perfect tragedy. And as Peach, you're like, nah, fuck that. We're not doing this. And then you get to go to there's 30 levels in the game. They're not very long, but there's like 10 different costumes, I guess you could call it. They have a specific name for it, and I can't remember what it is. But these 10 different costumes are basically 10 different gameplay styles, we'll call them. So like there's Detective Peach, where you are like you get dressed up like Peach gets dressed up like Sherlock Holmes, and she has a magnifying glass and she points at a lot of things like aha, and you solve rudimentary.
You have like points of deduction. And you go point,
and you point. That's literally what happens. Yeah. And then there's like Ninjutsu Peach. You're a ninja.
She's badass.
You get a dash. Like you get a dash, and this is stealth. When you when you hide, because the whole thing is gimmicked around stage players. Like if you hide against a wall, Peach just pulls out 2 little pieces of cardboard that are like wall like colored,
Like the
and
same texture as the wall.
holds them up, and then you just slide along the wall, and no one can see you. And there's all sorts of different ones. We'll talk more about them as time goes on. But essentially, yeah, you're just doing those levels. Each costume gets 3 levels, and then there's a final boss fight.
Nice. So from what I've seen of the game, I saw Tim Geddes and Andy Cortez do an extended playthrough of this. So there was a demo that was released for this title, and then essentially they started from scratch and played through. I want to say around about the first third of the game.
Okay.
Yeah. So I thought it was very, very charming. There is some weird performance issues with this game, and not just because it's set in a theater, but in terms of loading screens and how frame rate somehow tanks.
So there's a specific type of loading screen, which I think runs at about 3 frames a second.
I think that's been generous.
It's very weird. It's like got stars and stuff, and it's like you start loading, and then it's just like it might be generous. It might be like 1 frame every 20 seconds. It's very strange, but like as far as like the performance of the game goes, it's fine. Like it's not the great. It's not Tears of the Kingdom level performance, but it's also not Pokemon Violet levels of performance.
Yeah,
the game is definitely aimed more towards a younger audience than necessarily an older audience. So like in terms of like challenge, like in difficulty, apart from one bit, which is really weird, we'll talk about later. But it's a fun, chill, breezy game to play as an adult who has played many video games.
So from what I hear, also from what I saw, the actual art style and what they decided to do here, I thought was inspired in terms of obviously having it being set in a theater and how each stage is an actual stage. So with props and things, you can see the strings holding up different elements and how in the ninjutsu level, Peach would hide up against the wall, but instead of her spinning, the whole stage would spin around her, kind of thing, to change the environment. And I just thought a lot of those mechanics were cool. And there's these stars you can go and find throughout each level, kind of thing. And they'll take a little bit of light exploration to get, so they'll be like hiding behind a box or something, or
so
there'll be some special requirement to unlock.
Yeah, so there's like multiple levels of like collectibles, I guess. Obviously, there's coins. Like the coins you just use to buy stuff. If you complete the levels just casually, you'll have more than enough coins to buy everything. It's like the things that you buy in game are like dresses for Peach, which you unlock, and they're themed based on like the different outfits. Like you get like the sword fighter and the ice skater and stuff. And also like Peach gets a little companion called Stella, who's like a little floaty star. And you can buy like little outfits for Stella. I bought one. I got the figure skater one, and it's light blue, and like the color scheme is like, that's Rosalina. I was like, I feel like I'm just looking at a tiny version of Rosalina. But no, it's a very charming game. But in terms of the collectibles, there's sparkle gems. Yeah. Which is sort of like your main sort of like, there's 10. So like in the first level of each performance, there's 10. And then in the second level of each performance, there's less. I want to say like maybe 6. And then in the final level, it's like 5 or 6 again. So it's definitely like top heavy in terms of that. And yeah, they're not terribly difficult to find for the most part. Like it's like, oh, go this way instead of this way. There's a sparkle gem, and sometimes it'll be you have to like collect like the pieces as you traverse the level. And I did get all of them. So patisserie Peach, she does some baking. It's a good time. Makes cakes, cookies, muffins, whatever. Like it's not
there with the icing bag. She's got it made.
She's on a swing. Like you've got to decorate a cake, and like I said, for the most part, this isn't necessarily too challenging a game, except when you try to bake cookies. Like it's very easy not to fail to bake the cookies, but also it's like this weird. I don't know if you've ever played Overcooked, but the expansion. The Hangry Horde, where it's like the zombies like bashing down the thing, and like you got to feed them the food or they'll smash the thing down. It's a very similar mechanic in this, and there's a couple of points in these levels, like just 2, where like you have to feed them really fast, but also like so if you successfully complete that part, it's 1 sparkle gem. At certain points, there'll be like special mixing bowls, which come with like 2 little buddies. And like those are the special ones where it's like you do it and you get loads of cookies and stuff. And if you nail all of those, that's the second sparkle gem. But there's a third one where you have to feed everyone. And it's the timing on this to manage to do this successfully is extraordinarily tight, to the part where either I'm bad at it or it's really not balanced for a younger audience. I was getting so tilted trying to get these third sparkle gems. It was ridiculous.
And dear listener, the other thing to know about this game is there's only, obviously you got your movement on the left side of your Joy-Con and what have you, but in terms of the buttons that you actually use on the right-hand side, there's a jump and there's an action button. Yeah. So not necessarily like an attack and a dodge button or anything like that. Everything is on one button. And I think you can only remap them from the main menu. You can't remap them whilst you're in a level.
Swap them.
Right, okay.
So like you can swap the buttons over, because jump is on A, but A on a Nintendo controller is not where you might expect it. So like, but I didn't bother with that. But like, is there anything you want to specifically know, Moody, like about the game? Because I know you're interested. I know you have it, right?
Yeah, I do have it. Yeah. It's like you said, it's more targeted to the younger audience. Would you say? Is it? It's not.
Yeah.
Does it play like the Mario games and everything?
I guess it kind of does. It's weird. It's weird to say like it does, but also like because of how it modifies its gameplay with each costume. Like the detective game, there's not even any real platforming. You walk around and you find clues to solve whatever mystery that you're trying to solve in the moment. And like your health isn't tied to like getting hit by enemies, because there aren't really any enemies attacking you. It's tied to you making incorrect deductions So it's like they're not hard to solve. Like I found it really charming. A lot of people didn't like it because it was probably too simple, but I was like, no, it's fine, and it's charming. Like my favorite ones were the ninjutsu, like I mentioned.
Yep.
Because the movement's just a lot of fun, and the kung fu Peach is a lot of fun too. Like. You've got the kicks, and you just kick enemies and stuff like that, and like, but they do stuff with it where it's like there's spinning poles that you hit, and you spin and hit enemies, and it's also a bit of platforming involved in that, and like you jump on bamboo shoots as enemies are jumping on them, and you flying kick them, and they go flying, and then the boss fights on that are really quite creative, where it's like it's a QTE, so like the boss is trying to hit you, and you've got to hit the buttons at the right time to block his kicks with your kicks, and then eventually like you daze him, and then you go and he goes. Flying across the stage. So those are like my three favorites. But honestly, like there's only a couple that I didn't really like outside of the cookie baking. So like for the majority of the levels and like different gameplay styles, like I was vibing with quite well. Like they're not all platforming related, and they're not all combat related. Like where Mermaid Peach, like it's mostly a rhythm game. Like
nice.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool. Like you don't really fight any enemies in that version. Cowgirl Peach has a rope. I think Peach deserves to have a gun. Like personally, I think someone should hand that woman a gun after all she's been through. But I'll take a rope. And again, it's a lot of fun. Like
literally every couple of years, she has a kidnapper come in at her door, taking her away. Give this lady a piece.
If in the next Super Mario game, Bowser comes crashing through the wall, if Peach doesn't go into a wardrobe,
straight up,
get that kung fu outfit on and just beat the shit out of him, I'm gonna be very disappointed.
But yeah, like the ninjutsu levels will teach younger players or first time video game players about the premise of stealth and hiding and waiting to like red light, green light, that kind of thing, and
taking enemies out
like
stealthily.
That.
Like,
how do you feel about this game being quote unquote full price for Nintendo?
Nintendo are going to do whatever they want. I rented it, so I didn't pay for it. So take that into consideration with my opinion. But I probably played it for about 10 hours, and that was unlocking all of the sparkle gems, and also there's ribbons you can find to unlock new dresses. And I wasn't necessarily invested in getting new dresses, but I was invested in unlocking everything. And then once you finish the game, you unlock new stuff, special challenges, which I haven't dug into. Once I'd gotten to the end out of the credits, I was kind of like, cool, I'm done. And then the game was like, check out all this new stuff, and I was like, no thank you, I'm done. But there's definitely more there, like if you want it. As far as like how they price the game, I mean, it's a game for kids to play and replay. I feel weird talking about, like, I almost feel weird talking, like, critically analyzing it, because it's like I'm an adult.
Yes,
I've played many games. like I've played like Dark Souls. Okay, like this game is a whole different vibe, and I enjoyed it for what it was. Like, would I have paid £60 for it? No, but I don't pay £60 for many games these days, so like that's not really a fair thing for me to sort of assess, I guess.
Fair enough. But yeah, overall, you had a good time. Would recommend.
Would recommend. Had a good time. Like, it's a fun game to play. Boss fights aren't great, but most of the novelty, because you only play each performance like 3 times, the novelty doesn't really wear off. Like, if anything, I would say like some of the costumes that you get, I'd love to see expanded on. Like, I'd love to see them go deeper into the mechanics of the ninjutsu, of the detective, kung fu. Like I say, like there's only a couple that I didn't really vibe with. The sword fighter, weirdly, was just like, nah, this isn't it.
Yeah, but her dodge, like the way the blue trails followed her, that looked cool.
It's all like, if you get it right, it's all like slow motion and you bong things on the head. It's a lot. It looks cool. Like, and it's a very charming game. It's charming characters, and it was a fun weekend.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Very good. Very good.
Cool.
So Vitz, apparently there's been an update for Gran Turismo 7, sir.
It's that time of the month, friends, where Gran Turismo comes with their monthly update, and and for some reason the community gets very, very hyped, and they start dreaming about all the wonderful and weird things that Gran Turismo could bring to the table. But do they ever? No. However, this is not a month where I'm going to pull the Angry Soapbox out all the way from under where I usually store it. So update 1.44 released as of the day of recording. So on Thursday, for wherever that falls for you around the world. And it brought 3 new cars. So a Lamborghini Urus, which I still think sounds like a affliction you would go see a medical professional around. I've got an itchy Urus going on. Do you know what I mean? It's one of those. Do you have the 2016 version of the Audi R8 V10 Performance? Another road car with the which I'm not too interested in. But then the one car they did bring back, which did spark a little bit of interest, was the Toyota GT1 from 1999. So this is the car that went to Le Mans in 98 and 99, famously broke Martin Buddle's back during testing, and won its class but didn't take the overall win. One of the interesting things about this car is this was from a time where the regulation said you had to make a road go version of whatever race car you take onto the track, kind of thing. And one of the things was that you, for the storage space within the car, need to fit a standard size briefcase. So Toyota looked at the rules and they read between the lines, and it said, and they thought, right, nowhere does it only said that it had to fit a briefcase. Nowhere does it say you have to be able to take this briefcase in and out. So they made the fuel tank big enough to fit a standard size briefcase. When they took it to the regulators went, okay, it's not with the spirit of the rules, but technically, there's no rule to say a dog can't play basketball. So they let them in, and while they didn't get the overall win, they won their class, kind of thing. This is a kind of legend of Gran Turismo, this particular car. So for it to come back to the game, everybody's happy. In terms of the events that they added, it was only 3, which again is increasingly disappointing. But for some reason, I tend to get my hopes up every month and get them dashed expertly.
I have noticed.
So bravo, bravo, Protestantly Digital for doing that. But they did actually add a race which takes around about 30 minutes at Circuit de la Sarthe, otherwise known as Le Mans, with dynamic time of day and weather as well. So that throws things for a mix. So in terms of replay value, that is halfway decent. So more of that, please. But knowing my luck, we'll get even fewer events next time around. But for those who haven't jumped into Gran Turismo 7, this is a particularly good month to jump in. I believe that car retails for 2.5 million credits from the Legends dealership. So go there, give it a blast round La Sarthe, and have yourselves a good time. Yeah, exactly. It was one of the few times, I think the first time this year, where I've broken out the my wheel and racing rig and pedal set in order to give it a pedal around Le Mans, because it was actually substantial event that's going to take like 30 minutes to do and all the rest of it, rather than just the 4-minute races which the others take.
Sure. It's not really worth it for 4 minutes. I get it.
Exactly.
I tried one of those pedal and wheel combos once when I was at EGX on a Forza game, and I don't forget which one. I was terrible at it.
Well, maybe when you come around to these parts, you'll get another go with it.
You'll see.
But this time I'm going to say, Amy, now I bought a VR headset just for you as well, so you can throw up as well as be confused with all.
I'm good in VR. Like, I don't get motion sick in VR. I played Alien in VR. I can handle Gran Turismo.
There you go. Gran Turismo ain't shit.
Just compared with Xenomorph.
Very good. Let's go to GDC.
Again? Oh, man. I have a complaint about GDC. You need to put you've got a vault, and I respect the fact that, like, I have to wait to see all of the talks go into your vault. I respect that. I really do. But the problem is that your free vault doesn't include everything. And the reason I complain about that is because a membership costs $649 a year. I don't have $649 a year, but I would very much like to watch your videos. But yeah,
I think that's reasonable to ask. Yeah,
I was on the Vault website and I was like, man, like there's this 2023 talk that I've heard about that I want to watch, and it's not even on the Vault. It's not on the YouTube channel. Also, why are the videos that are available on the GDC website different to the videos that are available on the GDC YouTube channel? I don't understand that.
Yeah, that's weird. That takes some effort to do as well.
I was like, oh,
you got to re-edit those, and yeah.
I thought, oh, I'll sign up for a membership for a month, like just to like see the talk that I want and see what other ones. And it was like, oh, you have to pay $649 for 12 months access, and I was like,
Yeah, no,
I'm gonna die now. Thank you, you've killed me. Sorry. I believe we were going to GDC for a different reason. That happened yesterday, and I was just like, I want to get that off my chest. Now we're talking about
100%.
I wasn't complaining at all, Amy.
I don't know, like, you know, is it which story are we talking about?
It's the only one that's in there.
It's just the advocacy micro talks.
Oh yeah. No, my luck, this won't be
besides GDC the title.
No, my luck, this one won't be in the vault either. Yeah, so I like there was a micro talk with a bunch of cool people. So it was a panel made up of Ian Dodgion, who's the director at Okiari, Shandana Ekanayake.
Nailed it.
Thank you. He was the co-founder and creative director of Outer Loop Games, developers of that game I played last year, Thirsty Sears. Mei Ling Tan, who's the social systems design lead at Bungie, Victoria Tran, the legendary community director of Inner Sloth, makers of Among Us, Jane Hoffacker, who's the CEO and co-founder of Incredible Dream, and Rachel Cowett, who's the research director at Take This, which is an awesome organization that I referenced in my previous video essay about game credits. And like they all say some cool stuff. Like, I put this in specifically because I wanted to talk about the stuff that Rachel Cowes was talking about, which is at the bottom, because she was the last speaker. So Dr. Rachel Cowett, research director at mental health nonprofit Take This, was the final speaker. Cowett explained that her talk was originally going to be about what to do if things go wrong with your gaming community, but she'd made a last-minute change in the previous few days to address what to do as things are currently going wrong. In particular, Cowett wanted to speak about the ongoing harassment campaign involving video game consultancy firm Sweet Baby Inc. More directly, Cowett made a strong declaration that games industry leadership is choosing to ignore the harassment, which is exacerbating the problem rather than minimizing it. She went on to call the culture of silence around harassment campaigns in general, but this one in specific, irritating. Quote, "It's truly unfathomable in 2024 that senior leadership has not addressed this harassment. They have become complicit in this by not speaking out," end quote. Card's central point was that this complacency is cowardly and it tells aggressors their actions are fine, if not implicitly encouraging them. Citing Gamergate, the 2014 harassment campaign in the game industry, Cowett pointed out that silence did nothing to stem the wave of hate 10 years ago, and it makes no sense to use the same playbook again 10 years later. She also said, quote, "It has to be the loudest people in the room. It's got to be the people at the top." When she was talking about people who were speaking out, and I fucking wholeheartedly fucking goddamn agree with that statement. Like, it really does. Like, we've seen... You know, so we've talked about Sweet Baby Inc. for the last few weeks. Luckily, those people haven't found us. I've been around on podcasts when those people do find us, and it's never pretty. But as we've been talking about it, we've talked about people like Megan Farakmanesh. I believe that's how you pronounce her name. I'm doing it from memory. I apologize if it's not. Who wrote that article for The Verge that we referenced a couple of weeks ago. Developers who have spoken out about it specifically, like the Alan Wake 2 director who debunked the claim that Saga Anderson was supposed to be a white character until Sweet Baby Inc. forced them to change her to a black woman. Every single person that we have referenced, and the people that we haven't referenced because we haven't talked about them, who have come out swinging against the people who are harassing Sweet Baby Inc. have all had to lock their social media accounts down because of the sheer wave and amount of harassment and threats that they're receiving from these people. The problem is, and Kat actually talked about this. She said a lot more than what was in this one article. She actually talked about this, which is one of the reasons why it's important for the actual companies themselves or the leadership from the companies to actually speak out against this harassment and not individual developers. It's because those individual developers peel themselves off from the company and make themselves individual targets. Like, they're easy to target by.
Yeah.
the people who are currently running around harassing everybody.
Rather than an entity kind of thing.
Yeah, it's a lot harder to harass a company than it is to harass a single person who works at that company.
Yeah.
Which is what's happening. Like, I literally, like, I'm lucky in the most part, like, because I still, like, when I browse Twitter, I still have my Twitter account, even though I don't use it. That I follow most of these people already on Twitter, so, like, I can still see their tweets, but all of them have had to lock their accounts who have spoken about this. Because it's just insane how much they have to take just for speaking about it.
No, that 1,000%. And like they say, it needs to come from the top. It needs to be a clear line in the sand to say this is wrong. These facts that you're spewing, and for audio listeners, those were in air quotes, to say, oh, Sweet Baby Inc. has so much influence and they're doing this, and that, you know, they're making all games woke, and for some reason woke is a bad thing. And yeah, it needs to come from the top to say you need to knock this shit off, because A, it's not true, and B, you are harming people who make these titles that you profess to love. So it's one of these things where it needs to be a line in the sand, and there needs to be a clear delineation of, you know what, at some point, not everybody deserves video games.
Gamers don't deserve rights. I've said this before on the podcast, and I'll say it again. Yeah, the point that's being made, and I completely agree with it, it's a sort of a dual point, isn't it? Like, number one, there's plenty of companies that have worked with Sweet Baby Inc., like Remedy Entertainment, Insomniac Games. Like, they could easily just come out and say, no, that's not what the fuck
Ted
you
Price
talking
would come
about.
out tomorrow, yeah.
But the thing is, I think it has to come through, like, I think it would have to come through either Sony or Insomniac Games. I think even if Ted Price himself came out and said it, that just put...
Oh, sorry, I meant that as in an official capacity,
like
as coming from Insomniac.
An unsigned state, like, not signed by a CEO necessarily, but signed by the company. And it needs to be, like, not necessarily just one statement done and now we forget about it. It's like, it's a continued, consistent, and sustained sort of refutation of what's being said, what's being flung by these shitloads. And then there was a second point, but I forgot it in amongst the first point, as happens very frequently to me.
It's all good.
Yeah, it'll come back to me, probably in the middle of Moody speaking or something, I think. Usually does.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Like, more needs to be done to be able to help the people at the end of the day, if individuals as a group or anything. You need, like, more needs to be done from the hires up and everything. But I just think more needs to be done just in general in life. Like, these are people's lives at the end of the day. Video games, as much as we love them and as much as it is one of the most profitable industries out there, it should be protecting the people who create these games. It doesn't. We've seen this all the time. When it comes to this thing, like, people will choose the entertainment thing over people's lives, and it kills me, really. I don't like it for it. Like, it's insane just to see that type of thing. It's like a video game is not that important compared to a person's life, especially who they are trying to create this video game and everything, and they've done nothing wrong, and it just continues to happens all the time. But it happens in everything. We know this. We've seen it for everything, and people just don't care. And I just don't understand that mindset. I don't understand the mindset of being a bully, to being an asshole in general, and I don't understand the mindset of why people won't help or try to help. You know, they'd rather not, or make excuses to say, well, I'm helping the developer by playing the video game or buying the video game or something like that type of thing, or I'm staying quiet, so I'm not getting them, so I'm not getting the hate as well and everything like that, which I do appreciate, that you don't want to get the hate onto you and everything, but like people, we need to unify and come together to help everyone out and everything, but sadly we just don't get that.
It is from a non-company perspective, like from, like, say, other creators, people on social media and stuff, I do see where it's like you don't want the eye of Sauron to fall on you, like, because these people are fucking ridiculous. And I was there last time. Like, I was around last time this happened. I've seen what they've been doing. Like I said, every single person, individual person who has spoken out about this has had to log their social medias. That's just how it goes. Like, and to be on the receiving end of this kind of thing, I mean, I've seen what it does to people. It's awful. I'll sit here and talk about it every day of the week, and that's fine. Like, you can't say anything to me that hasn't already been said. I'm a trans woman on the internet, for the love of fucking God. But I can understand why people would be hesitant to bring that upon themselves on an individual level. So I totally empathize with that. But at the same time, it's a lot about what we've been learning about the games industry in general as a whole when we talk about unionization, collective action. There needs to be collective action to this. Like, right now, the people around this hate campaign, let's call it, they've switched their target from necessarily, they are still talking about Sweet Baby Inc., but now they're talking about Black Girl Gamers, which is a collective of black girl gamers. And I get not wanting the Eye of Sauron to come down on you, but at the same time, it's like, are we really going to leave these people to defend for themselves? And it's that balancing act of just look, no, it's not okay, and we shouldn't leave them to have to deal with this by themselves. And to go back to Cowart's point, we have a blueprint for this happening once before in almost this exact same way. So we know what doesn't work. And one of the things that doesn't work is companies not speaking out against this kind of thing. Because it didn't work the last time. If a company is silent about this kind of thing, these people will take that as endorsement. They don't see it as they're not getting involved. They see it as, secretly they support us. They just can't say it out loud. If it was really
bad, they would say something.
They're just not going to say it out loud because they don't want the woke mob to get them. So clearly, we must be doing. They must be on our side. And that's how it'll go this time. That's how it went last time. And I think we just need I think everybody, game companies, people with voices, people with platforms, just need to sort of stand together and say, nah, get out.
Yeah.
But not 100%. Once. Not just once.
Yeah. Again, for every occasion.
to reference a recent different campaign, it's not really enough to say fuck J.K. Rowling once and then be done with it. It's not really enough to say fuck these guys and then be done with it. Because they're not going to stop, and that means that you shouldn't stop either. But I get that it's more complicated than that.
Yeah. But there's little nuance in, people going after Black Girls Code and other organizations like that, which are specifically set up to help young black women to get into coding.
And again, it's really easy to batter back. I don't want to say engage with, because I talked about a few weeks ago when we were talking about the Sweet Baby Inc. stuff. It's you don't need to engage with these people on their own level. They're gonna say some fucking absolute dumb shit that has no basis in reality, never mind truth. You don't need to debate them, and you don't need to seriously debunk them. Just point out how ridiculous they are. The thing with the black girl gamers group, one of the targets of the harassment, one of the avenues of complaint from these fucking nut jobs is that oh, well, I tried to get into black girl gamers and they wouldn't let me in. Therefore, it's an exclusionary space. And it's you're a white guy. It's called Black Girl Gamers. They've created their own space for themselves. They're allowed to do that. Well, where's all of the white gamer spaces? Everywhere else.
I love that we said that in stereo.
These people are ridiculous. Just make them look ridiculous. It's not not difficult. I just did it in 3 seconds. I had Vitz's help, and Vitz didn't even know I was going to talk about that.
Team Same Brain.
But I do think, to put an addendum on that, it's I do think that we do need to take seriously the level of harassment and threats that people are receiving. And I do think we as individuals, as people with a podcast, as other people with podcasts, as just everybody who cares about other people, do need to take seriously pushing back against that harassment.
100%. We can't let it stand in any way, shape, or form. And even though it's not affecting, even though it might not be affecting you directly, it is affecting the people that, the creative types who are in the fired line for no good reason. Because, as we said, the arguments being laid against them are ridiculous, and it's one of these where it's a question of just human decency rather than anything else, kind of thing. If you see someone getting harassed, you wouldn't necessarily just walk on by, kind of thing. It's one where if you're able to, and we all are, to clap back, and it's one of these where it doesn't have to be confrontational. It's just making sure that the people getting targeted know that they have your support, and it's one of these where you just need to let them know that they're not alone in this, because as we were saying before, kind of thing, when people are targeted individuals, it can be extremely easy for them to feel isolated in this, because the larger corporations and larger voices in the space aren't actively coming down and saying, hey, knock this shit off. They haven't done anything wrong. You're talking nonsense, and everything that you say is ridiculous, kind of thing. You have no platform to stand on. And it's one of these where we need to remove the oxygen from these people spouting these hateful things.
Yeah, no, that's actually an amazingly succinct way of putting what I just said. It isn't necessarily about fighting with other people as much as it is about making sure that people who are on the receiving end of this stuff know that they're not alone. God knows I went through some shit in the last couple of years. And you are completely correct, Vitz. It is really easy to feel isolated when it feels like nobody's noticing what is happening to you. And it doesn't take much, and it really doesn't take that much to just reach out, to even just a heart on a tweet, a show of support, a clap back, like you say, just something, anything, and just know that there's more decent people. There are more decent people than there are gamergaters.
Yeah,
for want of a better term.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't feel like it, because all they do is obsess about wokeness and DEI and other things that they don't understand and have no grasp of.
No, 100%. I do like how Black Twitter has coined the term DEI as a replacement for the N-word. So in the same way that black people will colloquially use, my N-word, they'll say my DEI.
Okay. I didn't know that one. That's a good one. I love Black Twitter. But yeah, these people are ridiculous. Just make fun of them.
Hell yes.
If nothing else. But yeah, that was a great point, Vitz. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you for taking my word salad and condensing it down into something that actually made sense.
Where would you like to go next?
To bed.
Yes.
I'm going to make that joke every week, baby. Where would you like to go next, Vitz? You pick. You decide.
I know Moody's look like he got to say something.
Oh, okay. Yeah. One more. Unless Moody wants to add something.
No.
Not sponsored by Amber.
You guys all you both said some amazing things there, which was all spot on. I know, let's go this one. Take-Two has purchased Gearbox from Embracer Group for $460 million. I
feel like every time millions come up, I need to do the thing.
The Dr. Evil.
$460 million. Is this more confusing or less confusing that to Take-Two and 2K are now the same company and Gearbox? Yeah.
And they already have a publishing deal for some of it, but now okay, yeah, it is confusing because but all we need to know on the basis of it is that Gearbox will be going through another round of layoffs as a result of this acquisition. At the end of the day, yes, they've escaped Embracer, and that is ultimately a good thing for them as an entity, as a studio, as a team. But yeah, they will be suffering from another round of layoffs because after being acquired, which this is an acquisition, that there'll be a surplus of people within the organization and skills.
So will. It's not in this story, but I'm sure I read it somewhere else. Because they didn't buy all of Gearbox. So some of Gearbox still is with Embracer, including Gearbox Publishing San Francisco, who I read in the other article that was on GameDeveloper.com, I want to say, that they're going to change the name of that and then close it.
Okay, so they're still in the business of scuttling things.
I've changed the name.
I think it's just part of the deal. I think they have to change the name because they're not closing it immediately.
I imagine if you close an arm or something with a name of a company which you no longer own, then it's a bad look for them, kind of thing.
But it's going to result like the thing is, mergers and acquisitions suck. We all know they suck. The situation at Gearbox is with Gearbox and Embracer, and now I guess Take-Two is really complex because the Take-Two acquiring them is definitely going to result in layoffs. Take-Two not acquiring them was also going to result in layoffs because Embracer have completely fucking shit the bed as far as like being a functional company is concerned. So it's like it sucks all the way around, like no matter what the outcome of this would have been.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I won't lie. Overall, it sounds really wrong when I say this, but it's probably going to be a bargain for Take-Two at the end of the day because, like, what?
Oh yeah.
You put in the chat, Vitz, that like Embracer spent like over $1 billion to acquire Gearbox, and Take-Two have basically got that for over half.
Yeah, so for additional context with that, so a lot of that is with the transfer of shares as part of sale value, as well as just cold hard cash kind of thing.
Yeah, it was like there was an upfront payment, and then there was shares, and then it was like spread out. Or the rest of it was like spread out over so many years.
Oh, no doubt. There was some wheeling, dealing, and all this when it comes to shares and whatnot. But yeah, it's Gearbox is a very much a mixed bag when it comes to a company in general. Basically, more of cause of one person and one person only.
The magician and the magic man himself.
Yeah, but I still have Gearbox fondly in my heart because like Borderlands 2 for me is like one of the best games that I've played in a long. When it first came out, I absolutely adored Borderlands 2. I played it with a mate of mine all the time, and we loved the DLC that they popped out for all the time because it just continued the stories and really did. It was just, I thought it was just an exceptional game. It was it took what number 1 did, which was good, and they expanded and made it even better, basically. And I love that game. 3 was a mixed bag for me overall. I think they went a little too far into what they thought was what made those games personally. And but yeah. It's like, but Borderlands 3 sold incredibly well and everything. So like, it's not surprised. Like, obviously, I think they've come out and said like Borderlands 4 is in full production and blah blah blah, which I think we all kind of thought was going to be a Borderlands 4 eventually. And everything, how the fucking film's coming out at long last. Who knows? So yeah, it sucks. Either way, like you were saying, like either way, whoever they went to, layoffs were going to happen. I'm guessing it's probably less layoffs as they've gone to Take-Two.
Yeah, it's a lesser of two evils, I imagine.
Embracer Warriors would have been more.
Mm-hmm.
And Embracer might have ended up closing the whole studio for all we know. It's still not. It's still not 100% nailed on that Embracer is going to come out the other side of like their financial wars, because like as we talked about with their new strategy, it's like they're going to focus on making money but by not making games. Like as many games, like I don't know how that works, but
I think the only studios which can have any faith that their projects will see the light of day is the ones being published by Amazon. So I believe like Eidos and maybe Crystal Dynamics, their next titles will be published through Amazon, so they're footing the bill and the risk of that title coming out, kind of thing. But yeah, for all the other studios, obviously this writing's been on the wall for a while. in terms of Embracer just around been scuttling teams and studios and devs and whatnot. So it's bad news all around.
Yeah. It is bad news all around. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times, unless you were Embracer.
The
worst of times.
It was just the worst of times. It was also the worst of times.
It was the worst of times, and also the worst of times.
It was the worst of times, and it was the oh no, I've been scuttled already.
It was the worst of times, and the oh no, like my financing deal fell through, and I've already spent the money because I'm a fucking moron.
Speaking of worse of times, take us to the open head-to-head and see how I got
It's time for OpenCritic Head-To-Head, the most pointless game on the internet at this point. This is the game we play where we try to guess the OpenCritic average of upcoming games. Whoever gets as closest to the score gets a point. If you manage to guess the score correctly, you get 2 points. Last week we tried to guess the OpenCritic average of 3 upcoming games that are no longer upcoming. They're all out. It's all good. They're all here. They've all arrived. First up, we try to guess the OpenCritic average of Pepper Grinder. Moody guessed it we get a 78. Vitz guessed it we get an 88. I went in the middle, like Phil, and guessed it we get an 84. At the time of recording, Pepper Grinder has an OpenCritic average of 79, which means Moody gets the point. We also tried to guess the OpenCritic average of South Park Snow Day. Moody guessed it we get a 69. Forgot that was the number you guessed. 69. Vitz guessed it we get a 73. I guessed it we get a 71. At the time of recording, South Park Snow Day had an OpenCritic average of 63. This is where my laptop died. If I had realized Moody had got 69, I would have definitely gone lower than that. The problem was I couldn't see any of the numbers.
That's fair. That's fair.
But there it happens. And lastly, we try to guess the OpenCritic average of Open Roads. Moody guessed that we get an 82. Vitz guessed that we get an 83. I said the game critics would rate it low out of spite. I was right because I guessed it would get a 17 at the time of recording. It's got OpenCritic average of 73, which means I got the point. I bet on spite and I won.
Okay, I'm taking some lessons from this. So this week I was 9, 10, and 10 points above where I needed to go. So I just need to bring that down a little for whatever we do this week, and I should be in a slightly better place.
Keep that energy for a couple of weeks. It's not really
for next week.
Yeah,
bringing it back.
That puts the current scores. Why is the document freaking out?
Things are being changed.
Okay.
I'm trying to, but it's not allowing me. Yes, delete 3.
Your changes need to be approved by the one and only Amy, I think.
Nice. I didn't know that was a thing.
Block me?
No.
Oh, no.
Oh, is it just giving commentary on what?
It's asking me. I have to confirm that I'm changing this. What the
fuck?
Why are you changing the OpenCritic average when it doesn't change the result?
The results changed. The score has changed on the result. The review, they're at 72 now. Yeah. That's all. I'm just lowering it. That's all. Nothing bad's happened.
Yeah, no, but it didn't make a difference.
Okay. But the last time you did that, you got like double points.
Yeah.
I know.
That's what I'm saying.
I just checked a second. Is Pepper Grinder going to 78? No.
Don't change it if nothing's changed. The current score is Amy 6, Moody 17, Vitz 2, and 3 draws.
Super Max. And it was glorious.
This was still terrible.
I mean, it was. I mean, Carlos forgot to have a fight with everybody else in second place, but
how bad is it that he hasn't got a fucking seat? That is just atrocious. It really is.
I mean, everybody would be knocking on his door if they hadn't been already.
Yeah. I think he'll go to Mercedes.
Yeah. But also for my 2 pence worth, Alonso did nothing wrong. He was being a Dick Dastardly, as he always has been, and George got caught out once again, like he has done on a number of occasions, and binned it.
So this.
Hello.
OpenCritic Head-To-Head.
Yeah.
It's over. It's done.
Mm-hmm.
There's no coming back from this.
There isn't.
Okay.
I have a proposal for you.
Ooh.
Ultimate chaos.
Yes.
Like, I don't know what that looks like. We'll workshop it. But
I'm in.
I mean, I wasn't necessarily wholly taking this game seriously to begin with, which is probably why I'm in the situation I'm in right now. But like, my proposal is to not take the game seriously at all.
Okay,
And
yeah.
somehow make this a roundabout of chaos.
I'm down.
I don't know what that means, but we can figure it out.
I'm on board with the words that you're saying.
Excellent. Cool.
Let's roll D&D dice all the time. There you go. See what happens.
I don't feel like that's a
I haven't
roundabout.
got a D100. I've got 2 D10s though. We can do it that way.
But don't worry, you got a reprieve next week because apparently there's nothing coming out next week.
I don't know if there is something coming out next week, but there didn't seem to be anything when I looked on.
Of note.
I don't like
Fridays.
saying nothing of note because I feel like that's disrespectful if something is coming out. But like, nothing that I felt needed to be added to OpenCritic Head-To-Head. Let's put it that way.
Endless Ocean Lumious.
Yeah, sure.
Nintendo Switch game. I haven't got a clue.
Yeah, to the developers of that game, I apologize for my crass statement.
Yeah, pretty much the games industry is basically taking Easter off.
I can
It
respect
looks
it.
like it.
Yeah, and whichever deity or non-deity you go for, then yeah, I hope you enjoy this period.
Enjoy the break. I'm gonna.
That's it. May Zombie Jesus make all your wishes come true.
Oh, is that how it works?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So he takes a couple of days to respawn, as I understand.
It seems like bad game design.
And then when he comes back, it's where we're dropping boys, because clearly he didn't hustle women. So yeah,
Till the Towers.
there you go.
Till the Towers was out in Rome, was it? Dropping him with his picking up his pickaxe.
Pisa, where it was. That's where the Tilted Towers is.
Getting his blue goo.
Pouring it all down himself like a monster.
Picking up his machine gun, shooting those Romans. Tower header went
Say some
down.
words of wisdom.
Please save me.
Save me, save me, save me.
I thought he was going Bieber then for a second.
I don't know. Maybe he listens to a lot of songs I've never heard of
Yeah.
before. It's that one he used to do all the time, which went, and he just used to do that constantly.
Tarzan boy.
And he kept saying the name of the song, and like I'm supposed to know what it is, and I was like, I've never heard it before.
Yeah, Tarzan boy.
And then I heard it one day, and I was like, it's Moody's song. I don't know what it is.
To be fair, dear listener, when we came back from halftime break, I was singing one of Yuffie's many songs that she sings in Rebirth, and it was awesome.
It's really funny that
you didn't
brought
see
that
me.
song up, Amy.
You
I was
did-
listening to that when I was dancing at the beginning.
Nice. That's good.
That's really funny. That.
Yeah, the song Vitz was singing was Yuffie's Chocobo song, and he didn't. I unmuted my mic before I turned my camera on and joined in.
Yeah, you did.
Nice.
It's the things we don't capture that sometimes are the best moments of the podcast.
Maybe just always be recording, but then
Just
that
always
makes it
be
hassle for you to edit.
You get the break, and it's just I'll be right back stream.
Yeah.
I'm sure that'll go down well with our audio listeners and just get 10 minutes of silence.
I'm sure their podcast service of choice will be feeding them some ads during that break in the meantime anyway.
I don't know how it works. I upload it and then I walk away.
There you go. So while Mood is humming, we will say you've been awesome. We've been okay. Having a great long weekend.
Let me
Be
try
good
and
to each other.
let me try and do a Moody outro.
Okay,
Let me
go
see.
for it.
I can continue.
I've
It's all right, I
heard,
can do
I've
that.
heard, no, I've heard enough of these over the years that I think I can do this.
I believe in you.
It's time for the weekend, and it's a long weekend for some of you, not for me. Like it's not. It's just a normal weekend for me, but for you, it might be a long weekend. So like, have an awesome weekend and play lots of video games and eat lots of chocolate Easter eggs. I know the NHS says you shouldn't, but honestly, fuck the NHS, you know. And also, high five the sky
Yes.
somehow. Build, I don't know, trampolines. That'll do it. Yeah, and then high five the sky. And fuck the Tories.
And also explain to me why rabbits have eggs when they don't lay eggs.
Because it's Easter. You know what that means. How'd I do?
Not bad. though. You want me to finish
Yeah,
it?
sure, go for it.
All right. What's up, everybody? You made it. Another day is done. Another week has passed. We're all proud of you. You are special. You deserve the absolute best. You are truly fucking good enough. You're doing great. We believe in you. Peace out.
Yeah, you're right.
Have an awesome long weekend.
Fuck the Tories.
Fuck the Tories.
That was better than mine.